Thanks a lot, Amber. Well, it's time now for our weekly UHERO report, the University of Hawaii's economic research organization. And joining us this morning is Byron Gagnes. He's an economics professor with UH. Good morning, Byron, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, this morning we're talking about the Federal Reserve actions, and they met in Washington earlier this week. Can you explain what they talked about and more about their decision?
Well, they decided to keep the interest rates very low for now. They slashed interest rates late in 2008 at the time of the financial crisis, and they've kept them basically at zero, the policy rate that they set, until now, and they've decided to continue to do that.
And so what does this mean for folks like you and me and all of the consumers out there?
Well, many of the consumer credit that we have is either tied directly or indirectly to the federal funds rate, which is this key rate that the Fed controls. So I think that means that we should see relatively low borrowing rates for some time to come.
And what kind of borrowing rates are we talking about? Like, would that be auto or home loans? What would be the difference?
Auto loans would probably be affected by that. The ones that are directly tied to the federal funds rate or indirectly through the prime rate that banks charge are credit card rates. And so hopefully, they always seem high, but hopefully they're going to stay moderate for a while to come yet.
Right. So the rates are still good for like auto and credit card rates, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone can get a loan, right?
No, and this has been a problem. One of the things that happened at the during the financial crisis is that credit really became much harder to get. And so, if you don't have a spotless credit record, it's a lot harder to get an auto loan now than it used to be.
And there's some critics out there, and they're worried about inflation and concerns about it getting out of control. What's the latest with that?
Well, the Fed always has to balance its concerns about economic growth against concerns about long-term inflation. Right now, they don't have much to worry about. We had two reports out this week, one about producer prices, the other about consumer prices, and both of those showed that we have little or no inflation right now in the U.S. economy. So right now, I think we're okay. What they have begun to do is to pull back on some of the extraordinary programs that they set up back in 2008 and early 2009 to try to avoid financial collapse. So they've pulled back some of the lending programs they put in place for financial institutions, and they're cutting back on their purchase of mortgage-backed securities. They were trying to directly maintain lower mortgage rates. And so now they're starting to phase out some of these programs as financial conditions begin to improve.
All right, Byron Gagnes, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure.
I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week, Friday, with our UHERO report.